Ready for the 21st edition of the Women's Elite World Championships. You've seen the course on video. This is what it looks like in graphical form. 3.15 kilometres, couple of early technical sections before those long straights, 5 bridges along the way, 2 of those bridges having steps up to the top before very steep descents. They go through the pits, and of course, Helen, they come up to this very technical section.
Yeah, the only real technical sections are the 2 areas of banks, and they go over it a couple of times, and that's where we'll see some of the differences made. It's not really going to happen in the long straight lines.
They'll then come towards the final bridge once they've gone over that very steep bank yet again. That could get interesting if the rain does turn up. This is the final bridge, then it's the right turn left into the straight, and after just over 3 kilometres and several laps, we will see a world champion crowned. So Dubendorf in Switzerland is ready, and these are the riders that are looking to follow. Look at that run from Marianne Vos from 2010. The Dutch, though, haven't won it since 2016, when Talita de Jong was the last winner. It is the 3-time reigning champion Sanne Cant who is the best option for Belgium. These are the commissaires in charge, and that is how the start looks. Little wind about today.
There's a lot of wind, which is actually moving these rain clouds over really quickly. So even though we felt a few spots of rain earlier, I really don't feel it's going to make a difference in this race. 3
Belgians, of course, Kant is on the start list wearing number 1, and look out for those Dutchies, Castellan, Alvarado, Wurst, numbers 4, 5 and 6, with Brand wearing 7. The British riders, Evie Richards, will be hoping that 13 isn't too unlucky for her. We've got Katarina Nash, who was in charge of the World Cup for so long as well. Zulfi, who finished just outside the top 10 last year wearing 22, and then Caroline Mani, the former French champion, involved. 34 of 34 is Magali Rochette, with of course 1 rider from Japan and an Estonian turning up for these World Championships as well. 34 riders, 16 nations represented. So you'll see all sorts of different jerseys here, and this is Katarina Nash in her Czech national colours. Also on the front row, Anne-Marie Wurst and the rest of the Netherlands team. They're in their orange jerseys today. Representing Canada in the blue, white and red is Magali Rochette. She's the North American superstar. For the United States of America, Clara Honsiger, national star at the moment. She's got a rather snazzy bike she's riding to represent that fact too. There is the number 1. The last 3 years, this race has belonged to her, Sanne Cant. Focused and ready. Another of the Dutch army chasing glory. She's done it on the European stage. She's been pretty quiet since then, Jara Castellijn. Alongside Celine del Carmen Alvarado, the star of the season, certainly in breakout terms. Already skin-suited up alongside her, 2nd last year. She's been 3rd, she's been 4th. Is it time for a 1st place for Lucinda Brand? She'll be hoping that the mechanical nightmare and the change in the pits of last year is beyond her mind. 30 seconds to go. Spanish riders already and lined up too. As dull as it gets in their yellow and red, we will spot them from anywhere. Off goes the tape. The atmosphere builds, the tension rises. 16 countries represented by 34 riders, all chasing the rainbow. And we are off in Switzerland. And it's a sprint up to begin the first lap.
Oh, there was a near crash there on the right-hand side of your screen. Someone, I think, pulled a foot out. Sometimes you have those problems, but the Dutch have had no problem, and they're all off to a great start.
It's a start en masse for the Netherlands, and look at them all. All of their 5 riders amongst the first 6 or 7. Alvarado in 2nd place at the moment. You can see that Wurst has had a good start, and this is the first semi-technical section.
Yeah, we can see Magali's got right up there. Magali Rochette in the Canadian Canadian team kit is in the 3rd spot there, and she knew that was an important pace to move up. And just behind her, after the Dutch train, we'll see Christine Majerus in the Luxembourg kit, which we never really get to see, followed by Ellen van Looy as the 1st Belgian rider.
Well, Majerus wearing that light blue and white kit from Luxembourg. Evie Richards towards the back kit. The fact that this is a small field, is it going to make it a little easier to move up?
It's going to make it a lot easier to move up. Evie had not such a great start position because she hasn't done as much racing as she wants to normally because she's doing the Olympics, and so for her she was 3rd row, and even it's quite a short start straight here, so it's much harder to move up, and she may have actually been involved in that little incident we saw on the left-hand side of the screen.
It's Alvarado and Wurst at the front, followed by Magali Rochette and then Lucinda Brown. Your top 4 riders, all names we've seen in the World Cup season so far. Looking a long way back down to Eva Lechner. Evie Richards just gaining a couple of places on the first of those straights.
Yeah, Katie Compton's had a good start there actually for America in the American Stripes. She's not renowned for her good starts, but in a smaller field it is a lot easier.
Well, we're hearing that there was a little coming together on that opening stretch that you thought you saw at the corner of your eye there. Confirmed that there were riders involved. A little bit muddled up though, as you see Majerus on that yellow and red bike in the light blue and white, just starting the climb now, and she's had a pretty good start now. She's in 7th place.
You can see actually the ruts are starting to just kind of roll her out a little bit. So there are some sections which are flat, some sections which are up, which makes it actually less lines than usual. When it's really muddy, any line will kind of do. Whereas when it's been mud, you've created ruts and then it's dried out again, then it's much more lined out like it is now.
Well, the women's race is wide open here. We've been looking forward to this for some time. The Netherlands, well, they've got the best protagonists as we saw in the studio, certainly the most likely to take a win, but don't forget Sana Kuntz. Oh dear, oh dear, and it's a long way to the pits here around the corner.
That's such a shame. I mean, she had a fantastic start to the season, getting podium in America and in the World Cup, and that's a shame to see so early.
Is that race over for her?
That's race over for sure.
It's a harsh sport at this level. All year building up to this, and Clara Hansiger is out of the game. On the right-hand side, though, Yara Castellane coming to the front.
Yeah, you can actually see there's 2 lines there. Lara Verdonschot took the same line behind, and in the blue kit of Belgium, and you can see she used that area to move up nicely, went to the front. I thought she might have tried to make an attack. Maybe the Dutch riders would let her go away, maybe they wouldn't. It's really hard to see who's going to work as a team here or not.
Well, we've seen about 15 riders, and then there's a gap to the next riders. At the moment, and there's a slip and a fall. A slip and a fall for Wurst, I think it was. She's back on a bike now.
Yeah, she's quickly back up. She'll just use the speed and carry it around the corner, and she'll be back on that group, no problem. But she did slip on those steps, which is suggesting that potentially there's a lot of nerves going on in this race. I mean, even I, watching the start, I felt the nerves, and yeah, I'm not on the start line.
It's funny as well, those steps there on that particular ascent are longer, and it's a different rhythm going up the steps to the others, which are steeper and shorter.
Yes, it is, and we saw Kerry Werner actually in one of his videos ride the stairs. Not faster, but that shows how wide they are.
There's certainly no riding up here. This is a point where it's obligatory to get off. Hooker and Richards completing the top 10. Richards the closest to us, and this is a real labour, isn't it?
So you can see on this bank that in some of the races, if you're at the front, you're able to ride. If you're not, then you're stuck behind, and your remount space is tiny. It's less than a bike width, so you have to remount on the descent, which is why it's looking like nobody's really jumping on there, kind of stepping over, because if you mess up, then yeah, the consequences are quite high on that descent.
Bit of a gap here from some of the Dutch riders to the rest, and this is an important point in the course now. Look at this dominance for the Oranje at the front, those in orange.
Yeah, this is a really impressive start. Kant did not have a very good start today. The course is really tacky. The ground underneath is like, it's like riding a bit in kind of soft, squidgy ground, and it saps your energy, and so if you don't have a good start and you're not on that front group, it's really hard to make that up.
And Sana Kunt isn't even the most advanced Belgian. She's the furthest back of the Belgians, because Van Looy is in front of her as well, as is Verdonschot. And now Brand is really tackling this race, and the Dutch know that hunting at a big back here, as we see a problem for Alvarado, recovered from quite quickly. They are ripping this race to pieces on that one.
Yeah, and you can see, but as soon as one person ahead of you just bobbles a little bit at the top of that bank, then you have to get off and you make a mistake, and that's why it's so important to lead into these technical sections of the course.
This is the most technical section, perhaps, of the whole course. You pointed out on your recon with Rochette there. What's happened to these lines since you had a look yesterday?
They've got a lot deeper, so the inside line we can see on the right-hand side of the course is really deep. It's hard to get in that line now because at the top it's very narrow, so a lot of riders are just going around the outside. If you can get in, Majerus from Luxembourg has just got in. It actually takes you in a really nice straight line at the exit.
Reigning world champion is in 10th place now. Sana Kunt just behind Evie Richards. and it's 3 Dutch stars about to be joined by another who are leading, coming towards the end of lap 1.
Last year in the elite women's race, we did actually see that the Dutch riders kind of took themselves out of the race by not riding as a team. Obviously, they've learned from that lesson. They learned for the under-23 race the next day. But I feel like this is where our winner's going to come from. But how it's going to come is going to be really tough to see.
Well, 4 Dutch riders in charge. We have a Belgian in 5th in Van Looy, an American, Compton, in 6th place. This is Van Looy, who I just mentioned, in 5th place. Here comes Compton, the American. Then it's a Brit in Evie Richards, who's on fire at the moment, moving through the field. You can see the light blue in what is 8th place now for Majerus. Verdonschot just behind her. And the furthest back of that last group there, in the light blue with the Belgian flag on, is the reigning champion, who's now slipped to 12. Sanne Kunt's season is just not very Sanne Kunt-like, is it?
It's not as... she hasn't had as many results as she has in previous seasons, for sure. There could be many reasons for that. And also, the front of the race does move on. So it's not necessarily that a rider hasn't trained as hard or isn't riding as well. It's just that the front has moved on around you. You have to spend your summer working out what to do, like Alvarado did, to come back and be the best. Evie's riding really well here. You can see her in the... She's going to try and ride this back.
She just moved up into 6th place, and she's up the back.
Yeah, and she's riding really strong. I fear that she might have put too much energy on the first lap, unfortunately, because she wasn't on that front group, but yeah, she's riding really well.
Eva Lechner in the navy blue, the Azzurro of Italy on the right-hand side, just going past your picture. She has moved up into 10th place now, the Italian. As we see Rebecca Faringer just move past, and Majerus after a really good start up there. This now is Magali Rochette, who had a good look at that course with you yesterday. Hasn't been brilliant for her, has it, so far? She
had a fantastic start, but I feel like she must have had an issue some point during the race, and that's now led to her being where she is. Because, yeah, when you have such a good start, normally you would be around Ellen Van Looy in the Belgian champs kit, the blue, or Evie or something.
Evie Richards behind with the white jersey and white helmet on. She has this beautiful bright blue bike that she's riding. Hasn't raced too much this year on the cross field. Of course, I think she's concentrating on mountain bike later on this year. But at the end of the first lap, damage has been done by the Dutch. On the left-hand side, Brand, just in front of her, most advanced in the darker sunglasses. That's Alvarado on the right-hand side, the black helmet. It's Verst, and then the European champion in the blue and white. You can see Castellane. They all look back. They survey the damage. The clock is ticking to Belgium's best hope now, who is Ellen Van Looy, and she will come across at 14 seconds. Then it's Evie Richards in the white at 15 seconds, and then Katie Compton at 18 seconds in Compton, who has been on the podium 5 times in the Worlds. If she could get up to the front and win it today, she'll be the oldest ever winner.
Yeah, I don't think that that's possible at this point. These Dutch riders are so dominant in this race that it's going to be tough. They're really going to have to sit up and not, just let that group come back. You can see actually their lap time there was 8:52 for the first lap, which is a long lap, actually, for a World Championships. That's a long lap.
And considering it's a flat course, it's a long lap as well. It's just this ground underneath. It's very boggy, isn't it? It's very tough.
It is. It's really energy sapping, and you can see that during the race. You'll see as it gets further and further. These riders are just... Nobody's really taking the race on. They're just riding. They're testing out the legs of the people around them. They're going to try and get a gap. And then it's, every man for themselves, I guess.
I was going to say, I'm just about to ask you, actually. There's 3, it's going to be 4 Dutch riders again together. Will there have been a plan, and will somebody be a designated winner and leader, or will they have to fight it out amongst themselves for the honour?
No. In Belgium, if a Belgian rider wins, then you all share the bonus for that. But in Holland, I don't think it's the same. And so it's very much, we want to win, we want the medal, but equally it's also, that only that one rider gets the really good contract, gets the start money, gets all those things that come with being a world champion.
So it's brutal. They're riding together at the moment. They know they're in control of the race, but later on they will fight it out amongst each other.
They will. And you can see that they are kind of fighting out. You see Celine Del Carmen Alvarado on the left-hand side, number 5, just went up the outside of Anne-Marie Worst that was at the front. And Worst didn't really give any space, didn't really allow her to come up there because she wants to control it at this point for whatever reason. You can see the ruts now. They're starting to get really deep. They've put carpet down just there for some of them. And at the bottom of the bridges where the ruts get really good.
Evie Richards is the next rider along. She's the next nationality along. It's 4 Dutch riders, then a Brit, a Belgian, an American, an Italian, and then we have Belgian and Luxembourgish riders in 9th and 10th, respectively. Katarina Nash, I know many of you will have been following the Czech rider since the start of the season. She led the World Cup for so long, didn't she? She's in 11th place. Sanne Kant is in 14th. And the first Swiss rider is down in 23rd place, Zina Barumi.
Yeah, she's our only actual Swiss rider in this elite women's race. Interestingly, when Evie Richards came across the line, she was 18 seconds down, and now on the timing, she's only 10 seconds down.
Well, look at our picture as well, Helen. She's in the top of the picture there, just coming down this straight as the orange-clad Dutch turn the corner. She is gaining, and she's got a couple of riders on her wheel. Those riders are Katie Compton, in another decade now at 41, and Ellen van Looy's been around for a while as well.
Yeah, she's bringing them back to this front group, and I don't know if this front group has actually noticed or not yet, but I really think they can come back at this point.
And here's Lechner, the Italian national champion. Today she is in the navy blue of her nation. Number 3 just behind her, riding for Belgium as well, is Laura Verdonschot. She just missed out in the top 10 last year, finished in 11th in Boense in Denmark. Back into the muddy field we go on this very unique venue, on a military air base that has real history as one of the most important places in civil aviation in Switzerland as well. History of Belgian cycling, I think, is about to be changed because Sanne Kant is a long way back now.
I think that the riders have just noticed and they've just started to put a spur. And Celine's gone to the front. She's made the race.
Castellan's going to be caught though. Sorry to interrupt, but Castellan is going to be caught, and this is Compton. Now Richards on the right-hand side. Van Looy, and they're back in the race almost. Second lap, it's game on nearly.
Yeah, you can see how steep that bank is. It really is a wall to run up, sorry. It's really difficult to run up.
There's no riding up there.
No riding up there.
So Richards on the right-hand side, trying to ride up the next one. She gets halfway up. She's off her bike quickly as Compton has just gone ahead of Castellan. That is the first time since the start that any other nation has gone ahead of the Dutch.
Yeah, that's a really good move, that. But we've somehow missed Alvarado attack off the front of that group, and there's now gaps between 1, 2 and 3.
Here is Alvarado. Again, I think there was just that time when they noticed that there was a group of riders coming back. Alvarado's put the hammer down. She is ever so slightly ahead. They're coming up to this more technical section on the next zigzag they take around. Sort of grassy area has been built over what look like garages or bunkers here on the airfield. Brilliant crowds around as well. It's been a fantastic atmosphere since this morning, hasn't it?
Yeah, there's brilliant crowds. Even for the first ever Junior Women's World Championships this morning, there was big crowds. This is surprising that Brand isn't reacting in the same way that I would... Oh, Evie Richards just crashed.
Oh, problem for Evie Richards, who's gone back to get her bike. We've missed it here, but we can tell you that Evie Richards, the British rider, has had a problem. Richards behind here, chasing her bike as the Dutch ride away in front. And that problem for Richards has given advantage to Katie Compton and Yara Castellan.
I think she must have just got in the rut wrong and her front wheel flipped. She got off quick, but yeah.
She's back on her bike behind. I could just see in the base of the picture. She is back on her bike behind, but she's lost a little bit of ground. So that's Alvarado in the lead. Wurst is in second place. This now is Lucinda Brand, wearing number 7. And following on in 4th place, the American Katie Compton. And Yara Castellan will be 5th. Now we are watching the Czech star Katarina Nash, who's in 10th place, just behind Laura Verdonschot.
And we're starting to see specks of rain on the camera now. So, and on front, actually in front of us at the start line. So, if it actually rains, this is going to make a massive difference to how the course rides.
How much rain do we need for it to make a difference, do you think?
A couple of centimetres would be good.
Ellen's been doing a rain dance this morning, sat next to me.
I think it just needs enough to make it a little bit slick. But Brand is coming back. Brand is just riding probably just going to try and ride her own race, going to ride a similar power. You actually saw Alvarado took her left foot out there going around that corner. Already, with the little bit of moisture in the air, it's starting to make some of the corners a tiny bit slicker.
On most of the mud, every single line is now exposed. The grass has gone where the riders are riding, so it's going to be straight onto the mud, and it's going to be like the cement mixer, isn't it?
Well, these riders are probably riding the Griffo tread, so the intermediate tread. You're only allowed to ride 33mm maximum tyres, and on a course like this, you want as much energy as possible, so you want to try and use the least grip.
Evie Richards travelling at 34 seconds now from the lead of the race. Just goes past on the right-hand side in the white jersey. She's followed by the rider in the blue. That's Ellen van Looy of Belgium. Next is an Italian, Eva Lechner. She's in 8th place as Alvarado is being challenged and challenging straight back. It's a great fight between the two riders who were fighting it out last week for the World Cup.
Yep, and she was going there so that she could ride that uphill. We said how important that was when we did our walkthrough with Magali. And you see there in the 3rd spot, Lucinda Brand had to get off because she knew she wasn't going to get up to those riders, and she's already lost a couple of metres.
Katie Compton looking for another good result. She's had 5 podiums in her career so far. Evergreen rider, 16 seconds from the lead. And this now, we've had it confirmed, is going to be a 5-lap race to all of you watching. A 5-lap race. Sprinting, trying to make up that ground, get up that hill is Evie Richards.
These riders are trying to it looks like they're putting a lot of power in to try and get up there, which they are, but they're doing that because they, Anne-Marie Wolf's got actually blood on her right knee there. Looks like maybe when she went over on that bank that she maybe caught her knee on the handlebars or something.
If you think as well, those bridges are built of metal. We saw the scaffolding being put up. There's a very thin carpet, isn't there, down there? It could have been brushed against something like that.
Yeah, that
be a hole in the carpet.
Easily have happened. And you wear studs in your shoes on conditions like this because you're doing a run-up. You need to get some grip at the end of your shoes, so they're like soccer spikes. And if you get your foot caught in the little holes in the bridge, potentially that can make you crash yourself.
Eva Richards looking laboured on that right-hand side there. She comes up towards the finish. It's going to be the end of lap 2. 6.4 kilometres into the race. Last time through it was a group of 4 Dutch riders. We're down to 3. Vust at the front, Alvarado in the middle, followed by Brand, and then the 4th Dutch riders on the wheel of Katie Compton here. We're off for a very quick break. 3 laps still to go. Race very open. Behind Jelle Kastelein in 5th, Katie Compton in 4th, and the leading trio all here in your picture now from the Netherlands. Vust, Alvarado, Brand. Coming towards the halfway point here. At the moment, it's the Netherlands who are in charge.
The Netherlands are fully in charge of this race. I think at this point they have a gap of around 19 seconds to Compton and Kastelein, but it's growing every lap. So I'd imagine that our world champion will come from here. No matter what happens now, as Kant's down in 13th at 1 minute 19, we will have a brand new world champion today.
Well, this is dominated by the Dutch at the moment, but we have an American here in 4th place in Compton. She's with the other Dutch rider, Kastelein. Behind that, we have a British rider in Richards. The best Belgian is Van Looy in 7th place. Lechner is an Italian in 8th. The Czech Nash is in 9th. And do we have... Yes, we have the Luxembourger. Christina Majerus in 12th, with Marlene Petit in 14th for France. We've got Spaniard in 18th place. And, of course, Zina Barumi, the only of the Swiss riders, in 22nd.
These riders are just watching each other again now. Every time they come around the corner, though, interesting, Brand is just slightly off the pace. Oh,
she's coming that corner. Interestingly, no bike changes yet.
Absolutely no bike changes. When we've seen from the races previously that their bikes are not picking anything up on this course, which is really strange because yesterday morning you would have said that you'd be bike changing every half a lap, the way that the bike mechanical parts were picking mud up.
The power washers were working overtime yesterday, weren't they, at lunchtime?
They really were, and this rain isn't really amounting to anything, so I don't think it's going to make any change to this course.
I'm afraid it's only spitting so far.
Evie's really going for it now. She really wants to try and get that back again. That's when you start to make mistakes, when you go beyond what you're able to do, and that's how she made the mistake on the other bank. But I think it's going to be tough for her to come back to those front 5.
So back on to this section that is definitely not rideable. It's almost like an alpine expedition. You have to pick your lines.
Brand probably came to the front at this point because on the last lap, that's where she let a gap go. And so she knows, okay, well, if I don't want to spend any more energy, I need to go to the front. I need to not let them ride up and ride away because Ross was able to. And I want to do that to them, basically.
So that was a tactical move rather than just showing of power. There is Kastelein in 5th place. The gap, by the way, has grown to 21 seconds from the leading trio to Compton and Castellane. We saw Richards there. Castellane and Compton are 20 seconds ahead of Richards, who is 41 back from Brand, Vost and Alvarado.
I think Compton's going to go away now. Compton's a really strong rider, and whenever she's in a race like this where it requires power, it's so good that she just keeps riding that power, and she's very consistent.
Ilana, can you hear us?
Yeah, these riders are just watching each other the whole race. They really are just, you know, nobody really wants to go really hard at this point. A lot of the straights, you think, okay, we could attack there, but you can't get enough speed because the ground's so energy sapping. And they're literally just watching each other to, you know, trying to ride second wheel because that's the best wheel to ride in, and just waiting for somebody to do something.
Well, the Dutch have done something. They're leading with this trio up the front, Vost, Alvarado and Brand. We have a special guest joining us right now. Not able to ride today, of course, after that horrific injury she suffered, but she was 6th overall last year. Welcome along, Jolanda Neff, the local rider from Switzerland. And Jolanda...
And yeah, as you can see, there's 3 riders in the front, and yeah, everyone else just fighting in the back. So yeah, it's very exciting to watch.
Who do you think is going to win from this point?
That's so hard to pick. I mean, of course, I'm hoping for Lucinda because she's on track. So that's easy for me. But yeah, I admire all 3 of these riders in the front, and I think all of them are super strong, and it can go anyway. Any one of those 3 can win.
If you're in this front group right now, what tactic would you use?
I mean, yeah, to be in the front group, that would already be amazing for me. I mean, yeah. I would just enjoy the atmosphere in front of the Swiss crowd. That would, of course, be great. And yeah, I guess you just have to use every tiniest advantage that you can get. Like Anna-Marie just tried now. She had a tiny gap and she tried to go for it, but I think it's really hard to get away on a track like this.
And Jolanda, just quickly, update us how your recovery's going, please. When will we see you back?
Thank you for asking. Yeah, I'm feeling very good today. My recovery went really well so far. I didn't do anything for 4 weeks. I was just laying low, and yeah, I'm starting to feel better again. And yeah, I hope I can take a little step every day.
Well, it's wonderful to see you happy. Wonderful to see you on your way back. Thanks for joining us, Jolanda. And well, have a great day in front of your fans.
Thank you so much. Have a good day. Enjoy the races.
And we are enjoying the race. We have 3 superstars in the lead. Anna-Marie Vost, Celine del Carmen Alvarado and Lucinda Brand. And it's in that order. Vost at the front in the black helmet. The white helmet in the middle here is Alvarado, the Dominican-born Dutch star who suffers a bit of a problem. She's stuck in a rut there and she's lost a place. The second place now goes to Lucinda Brand, as just behind Vost opens up a little gap.
Yeah, and once again, that's so important to get into those banks first, because if you can get over, even if you can't, everybody else behind you is stopped by your actions.
And we saw a little problem too for Brand trying to clip in on the left-hand side. She couldn't get the shoe in, and she's lost the place again to Alvarado.
Yeah, if I was Alvarado at that point, I'd wait for Brand to just bring me back.
This is Katie Compton. She's alone now in 4th place. 7 seconds in front of the rider on your picture in the orange. This now is Yara Castellane, the European champion. Behind her, another 18 seconds back, is Evie Richards.
And we can see how this course is just draining and draining and draining. Oh no,
it's a bike change. Bike change for Lucinda Brand. And well, we all know what happened last year. Thankfully, this time it's quick, it's clean, and she's back on her bike. The first one we've seen.
Yeah, she must have had some kind of mechanical. Maybe the chain jumped off, maybe it just got stuck in the little ring or something. Sometimes when bikes come together, something happens, and it's safer to change bikes.
Well, she's going to have to work a little as Alvarado looks behind, coming towards the end of lap 3, and sees now that there is nobody in sight. They have left Brand, who's quite a distance back.
That is a massive gap on this course.
It's 14 seconds.
14 seconds. That's a massive, massive gap on this course. Even for Brand being so strong as she is, and Celine's just looked behind her over her right shoulder and seen, okay, we've got a gap, we've got to do something.
Wow, that is incredible. It was 14 seconds at the count. It's now 12, I think. There it is, 12 seconds to Lucinda Brand. Very unfortunate. Got with 2 laps to go. The jersey is going to the Netherlands. The podium is going to the Netherlands, unless Katie Compton can reach the podium for the 6th time in her career.
Yeah, that would be a very impressive ride. We did see how good she was in Hoogerheide and Nome, so it wouldn't be a surprise at all. But especially on a course which is quite power sapping, and she's a very strong rider.
Well, I'm looking at Wurst at the front, of course, because we had, and you to be congratulated for this, for all the work you're doing with the junior women, with the Helen 100 and everything, but we had the debut of a junior women's event today, so we see Brun making her way back onto the leading pair. And of course, here in the women's elite event, we've had a couple of riders who can transform youth success in the under-23s into elite success. Evie Richards is one. We know that at a minute she's out of the game now for the rainbow jersey, but look, second place there, Annemarie Wurst. She was the first star, or the second star, I would say, to take that jersey when she won the under-23 Worlds. She's in with a great shout of becoming the under-23 star that makes her a senior world champion.
She is, absolutely, and it's so exciting to be able to say that, which we weren't able to say until 2016. She won in Beals in Luxembourg on an incredibly technical day, and she just basically stayed upright in the snow and ice. But yeah, it was to see her at the front again. She's 25 now, so she's already been in elite for a couple of years, but she's super strong, and again, her technical skills are brilliant. But this is going to be really interesting to see. We know that Alvarado isn't good in a sprint against either of these riders. Both have beaten her during the season in World Cup. So at this point, Alvarado has to be thinking, okay, what do I do? And then last weekend, she did the perfect move in Hoogerheide to get that, to try and secure that World Cup series, and it messed up. And that's got to be in your head at this point as well.
I wonder if she's done any work on that this week. I wonder if she's spoken to anybody. I wonder if there have been sports psychologists involved, because it was a big moment, a big crack.
It was a big moment, but she didn't look massively disappointed at the finish. And like I say, I thought that was absolutely tactically brilliant. And for her to, and it just went wrong. And things go wrong. It's cyclocross. That's the beauty and also the hurt from our sport.
It's why we love elite sport, as there are three riders back at the front, and guess who's leading them? She's there again. Lucinda Brand does not want to let this one get away.
And this is just showing how strong she is. This is showing that, okay, she has just been waiting around and she doesn't want to go too early, and she's just brought back a 14-second gap on them. Yeah, they weren't going hard, but if they felt they were strong enough, they would have tried to break her at that point.
Interesting here as Wurst just found her way into the first position again. This is where Brand tried to get in front the last time they were through here.
Yeah, she wanted to be in front so that when they came off the bridge and they went into the first up bank, she could control what happened behind her.
Now this is Compton, putting in one of the rides of her long and distinguished career. She's had more national championships in the United States than she's had hot dinners. And Yara Castellane is now in 5th position.
Interestingly, they're all riding up the right-hand side of our screens on that section on the grass. And that makes me feel that even though it's kind of stopped raining again now, it's still making that section a little bit harder. And where we see Evie Richards in the Great Britain team kit there, number 13, is actually just less draggy.
Well, there's race going on in behind. We're going to update you with the standings in just a minute, but look at that move again from Brand at just the right point. She wants to be in control there, and she is. She can make sure there's no movement behind. She is the one who controls the speed at which they ride and the attack, the angle of attack, if you like, up these banks.
She's doing really good moves there. That was a real last-minute move, but we saw her do that in Zolder on the long descent to Marianne Vos, and yeah, she has to get off, but everybody else has to get off behind her.
So it's these three Dutch stars leading as Wurst has a little bit of a problem. Small gap aid to open up, but there's plenty of flat for her to get that back now as I head to the next problem with Alvarado cutting it very, very fine, coming around the corner there. So here is the moment yet again. Oops. Well, it's slippy out there.
That slipped again. Potentially she's not wearing spikes in her shoes, which would be a strange move at the World Championships when they don't weigh anything, but they actually help you get grip.
So 3 Dutch sliders in the lead. It's an American who's 4th, and then you have a Brit in 6th place in Richards. Lechner is 1 minute and 8 seconds, the Italian in 7th. Nash is in 10th, as we see Brand again fighting it out with Wurst. Oh, the racing really is on here. It's a domestic battle at the minute as the Netherlands try to win the world title amongst the women for the 8th time in their history.
Waspers there was trying to make a move on Brand, and Brand just kept pushing and holding, and basically you have to get your handlebars in front. She's going again so that she can try and control this, and Of these three riders, Brand is incredibly good technically, but of these three, Anne-Marie has the best skills. And you've only got 1.5 laps left at this point. Where are you going to try and break Brand? Because everybody knows Brand is a really strong sprinter.
Confirmation that Clara Hunziger, by the way, the American superstar, has not finished after her mishap early on.
That's a real shame. She was riding really well this season. So.
Well, we've seen Compton in 4th, the American. Another American who's in 12th is Rebecca Faringer. We've got a Frenchwoman, Marlene Pouty, in 11th. Nash, the Czech, is in 10th. Of course, Christina Majerus is in 14th now. And the rider who you went to have a look at this course with, Helen, is in 16th place, Magali Rochette, there representing Canada. Now, there she is, and she's been caught behind a crash. She was caught behind Kirta Hooker.
Yeah, we said when we were walking around actually the other day that how some of the mud gets transferred onto the concrete and the concrete gets really slippery with that.
We were having problems walking on it yesterday. Well, that mud not getting as slick as we wanted it to, though. I know we're pretty naughty for wishing that on, but it would have been an absolutely epic thing to watch, wouldn't it, had it been raining all day?
I think it would have made a lot more difference in terms of crashes, and it would have made the racing not necessarily more interesting, because right now it's really hard to tell who's riding the strongest in this front group. But I think it would have made for people to make the least mistakes.
So the 3 stars in the lead remain there. Alvarado at the front. In fact, she's just slipped behind Vos now, who's wearing number 6. 3rd place there going to Lucinda Brand. Only her 4th World Championships in the elite section. So good on the road as well as Katie Compton, good across all disciplines. Moves up and rides really, really well, but she's at 30 seconds now. She needs something special to happen. It is going to be an all-Dutch podium, I think.
She's riding a very consistent race here. She's not getting any slower. She's not getting any faster. It's just a constant speed, and it's so hard to come back to that front group unless they make a mistake ahead of you. Well,
we saw Jolanda Neff talking to us a moment ago. Unfortunately not at the cross this year as we saw, but she will be back in action 22nd of March, and it's the start of the mountain bike season, and you'll be able to see it here on Red Bull TV. In the meantime, we've had a move. We've had Forst go away for the umpteenth time. This time, will she stay away?
Forst did a really good move there as well. Again and again, Celine Del Carmen Alvarado was caught out at that moment in the 3rd wheel, and because Brand couldn't get up, she kind of struggled a bit, and now we've got a gap. And again, she's going to have to close that gap, but every time you have to bring back that energy used that you can't use in the sprint.
Compton on and off very quickly again. We're watching Castelline now. She's in 5th place at 44 seconds from her compatriot Wurst, who leads. Wurst only having a couple of seconds ahead of Alvarado and Brand, however. Oh, and here we go. Discount the rider in 4th place there, the Japanese rider who is very, very close to the back. I'm afraid I think she's going to be taken out. She is taken out. Aya Akamatsu, end of her race, I'm afraid.
Again, Selena's come back to that group. She's come around Brand, and she's jumped back to Anne-Marie Worst at the front. At this point, I mean, we keep having to change our mind, but at this point you would say that, yeah, Alvarado is really strong to be able to do that twice in a row, and Brand again is going to have to close another 8-second gap or so.
Oh, they look around, they see Brand, they've got rid of her for now. Do they push on and make sure they stay getting rid of her?
I absolutely would. This is 1 lap to go. They're into their last lap. It's 8 minutes 50 of 9 minutes of racing, and yeah, this is it. This is your moment. You've gapped the favourite for the race. You know that she's the strongest in the sprint. Equally, is Celine going to go on the front and work really hard because she knows Anne-Marie can beat her in the sprint, or is Anne-Marie going to go on the front and just hope she's still got enough left to beat her?
Well, we saw last week, didn't we? You talked about the tactics from Alvarado. She won't settle for second. She'll try something.
She will, absolutely. And there's no way she would have stepped up to Elite World Championships if she didn't believe she could win this race.
Compton in 4th place at 36 seconds and slipping backward now. Castellane is going to be next over the line to take the bell in the last lap. She's in 5th place. Last count, she was at 51 seconds. At 50 seconds now, the official timing equipment shows. And we've got about a 20-second wait until we see Evie Richards, the next rider, in 6th place, the British rider. Last seen travelling at 1 minute and 15 from Wurst.
And we can see the lap times have actually got slower every lap. This shows how energy sapping this course is.
I think that's a pattern we've seen throughout the day, isn't it? With the junior women and then the under-23 boys as well.
We have, definitely. And it started off at 8:52 and it now last lap was 9:15. So, 20 seconds is a really big gap in cross.
Talking of the gaps, they're getting smaller again. Brand is on her way back. Down to 3 seconds from what was 6 or 7.
Yeah, and Brand, if they let Brand get back to this group, she is actually pulling the good moves on it, and she's not given up. She's absolutely not given up at this point. This is really dangerous for these front two.
And she's the strongest on these flat sections, isn't she?
She's the strongest on the flat sections, and she's the best at getting into something first. So
and she is back. She is back. There she is, just a couple of bike lengths now. One effort up here, and just look at the difference in the power. Look at her putting the power through the pedals on that climb.
Yeah. Though front two didn't use that to their advantage to stay away.
It's a 3-horse race yet again. The World Championships are coming to a conclusion, and the rainbow jersey is going to go to the Netherlands for the 8th time in its history. But who's it going to go to? Is it going to be the number 6 in the orange, Annemarie Vos, the World Cup winner? Is it going to be the young sensation of the season in the middle there, Celine del Carmen Alvarado, or is it going to be finally, at the 4th time of asking, Lucinda Brand, who sits in 3rd place, just taking a moment to recover?
We haven't seen Brand make a move at all in this race. We do not know where she's going to attack them, and the front riders don't know that either, whereas Worst has shown exactly where she is going to make her move. And again, Alvarado hasn't really made a move, but she's followed and she's seen and observed what the other two are doing. But Brand has the advantage tactically right now.
Well, she's not to be scared of coming 3 together on the line, is she, at all?
No, she'd want to come in second wheel, not third wheel, because it is quite a short straight between.
But I mean, she's certainly not scared of taking these other two on in a sprint.
No.
She'd be quite happy with that.
No, and her tactics would probably be to lead out the sprint, because that's what she was good at in Zolder. That's what she's good at on the road. She's strong and powerful, and it's so hard for anyone to get around her, but she's not zipping.
It's the way cross sprinting goes. I think you and I were commenting on that when we were watching some of the racing last week, actually, the way a lot of the cross sprints go. If you get your neck in front, you are the strongest. Everybody's on the limit. You often win the sprint.
You do, definitely. And those girls are running really fast up those stairs now. Annemarie Worst is trying to make a move on the stairs. She obviously saw what Alvarado did last weekend in Hoogerheide.
There's a little half look behind there to see if she'd done any damage. They go back into that boggy field again.
Oh,
and now Alvarado makes a move. Celine del Carmen Alvarado knows that she is the least likely of these 3 to win in a sprint. She knows she has to make a move. She has the position, going into the wall of death here, because you can get stuck and it could all be over pretty quickly.
It could, and we haven't seen any of these 3 ride the next bank. And in the junior women's race this morning, the course conditions were very similar. And Worst is straight back
got
past.
a better advantage. Brand has just fallen behind there. Now, Vos, look at that, trying to get as far up as possible. Alvarado's just behind her. Brand's still in touch as they get stuck again. And Alvarado slip, just allowing a minute gap to open up for Vos.
And that's what Worst wants to do. She really wants to keep breaking her and trying to keep making her make those little moves to come back. And I feel that Alvarado might have been able to try and ride that, or might have been trying to ride that section. And that could have been her tactic for this last lap.
Now Brand needs to put in a big effort here, or it could be over. They're coming to another technical set right now. She's in the right position, and this is where she'll want to make the difference.
This is, but Alvarado is so good at holding those wheels and following those wheels, and you can see how she overlaps so nicely, and she's not trying to come around, she's just trying to stay as close as physically possible, and she trusts Anne-Marie's skills.
Well, Brand putting in a big effort, a big dig there as she tried to close the gap, but it's still not enough yet. It's Vos and Alvarado, both of the Netherlands. Then their compatriot Brand coming in. Next rider, if you're just tuning in, is at 34 seconds, and that's Katie Compton of the USA, as Alvarado darts up on the left-hand side, tries to get through but can't. It's still Brand as they come up to this more technical section again. The zigzags to take on for the last time. Oh, and Alvarado's in front. It's on that simple little descent. You thought that the skills would have belonged to Vos, and Alvarado has stolen a march. Things can yet change again, but Celine del Carmen Alvarado gets the position.
Yes, she wants to go into this off-camber rut first. She wants to try and control it. She wants to try and get a gap on Anne-Marie, and this is going to be her move.
Well, Brand behind is on the rivet, but she's digging deep. She's digging deep. She's trying to stay there. As Forster almost loses it on the off-camber coming down. Brand is still in this, and she hasn't been put out of the game yet. Certainly not if they look around at each other.
No, and Alvarado's looking around. She's not taking it on at the front. Worst is still there. She hasn't been able to drop her. Yeah, Worst needs to do something. Worst is going to try and get into that last bank first, like she's done the other 2 laps. But Brand is not done at this point.
They are looking, they're waiting, they're allowing Lucinda Brand maybe back into this again. It's her terrain on the flat, and look at Brand burying herself.
This is really impressive racing by everyone at the front of this race. And again, if Worst is unable to get up that back, and Brand's back.
And she's back. She is back for the umpteenth time. She's been put out of the game several times. She's back yet again, though, and they just cannot shake Lucinda Brand.
And she's going to try and go around to get up that last bank first.
So off they come for the final time on these little jumps. No Bonnie hopping there today. Again, we come around. Alvarado just getting stuck in the mud for the moment. It's Wurst at the front, winner of the World Cup last week on points, of course. She is the title holder, and what a step up it's been, establishing herself amongst the elites, the former European champion this year. It's been an explosion on the elite scene for Alvarado, but here comes the old head. Here comes the experienced rider. Here comes Lucinda Brand.
And she knows, she's seen Anne-Marie do this on the other 2 laps. She knows she has to get to that first, but Anne-Marie's coming back. Anne-Marie's going to try and go right up the inside and take that.
And she's done it. She's done it, and she's taken it beautifully. Oh, there are more swings and roundabouts to this race than we've seen for a long time. And suddenly, Brand's back in 3rd place.
And Alvarado's right back on her. This is going to be such an exciting finish.
So we are coming up towards the grand finale. We've had all the banks and things like that out the way now. We've got a bridge to go. But again, they look around. Again, they look around. Tactically, what are they doing, these 2 in front?
Neither of these 2 can actually really use their power to get away from Brand because she's so strong. But I think Celine's going to try and make a move up this bridge. They've got less than a minute of racing, and Brand is back there again. They've got to do something here.
They have to do, because if they take Brand into this final corner, there's a real chance that at the 4th time of asking, she will be the world champion. Look at them. Look at them. They are going very, very deep indeed. It's the final bridge. Up they go. It'll be a turn. Then the left turn into the barrier. It's Wurst at the moment with her nose in front. Half a wheel ahead. Wurst is there. Brand has just lost her footing. It's Wurst and Alvarado. It's the Dutch going for it. Oh, the Dutch are going for it. And it's just 50 meters to go now. Alvarado trying to come around. Alvarado trying to come around. Oh, she's going to do it. Celine Del Carmen Alvarado with the moment to save her. That is something very special indeed. Alvarado in a sprint, the least likely of the 3, and Helen, she timed it to perfection.
That was absolutely brilliant, and you can see how much she put into that, and that's amazing to see. So well deserved after losing that World Cup last week. First year elite, and you can see exactly how much that means to her.
They floored themselves, they floored each other, but the knockout blow has been landed by the season's young sensation. Celine Del Carmen Alvarado is world champion. Alvarado, racing under 23s last year, almost didn't race the seniors here. 2 weeks ago she decided she's the world champion. Wurst 2nd, Brand 3rd, and that is quite a performance too from the veteran Katie Compton, who finishes a minute further down.
I feel Wurst is just shocked at this point.
She can't
believe that Alvarado's come around her in that sprint.
She cannot believe it. I'll tell you what, she'd better believe it. She is the 8th Dutch winner of the world title, and it's 4 Dutch riders in the top 5. Well played, Yara Kastelein, but all the glory going to the Dominican-born Dutch superstar. She is a bona fide legend, and there is so much more to come. She could dominate this scene.
Yeah, just seen Evie Richards there of Great Britain come in 6th place, and what a great ride she had at the beginning, and unfortunately she had that instant at a really important point, and I think it's just hit Anne-Marie.
Wurst not feeling the best right now.
You can see cuts on both shins, on both knees there, and you know What a performance by Alvarado to put that sprint in at the finish. What a performance.
Well, she still can hardly walk. It's taken everything out of her. Her family around her, time to celebrate. As we look back, Richards, as you said, finishing 6th. It's a wave to the crowd from the veteran biker from Italy, Eva Lechner, the national champion. She finishes at 2 minutes and 25 seconds in 7th place. That is a solid result from her. No stranger to a top 10 at the Worlds, though.
No, she's consistently, probably I'd say top 8 every World Championships, and she's had podiums before, never won, but yeah, really good performance.
Well, the defending champion, Sanne Cant, is in 12th place at the moment, travelling at the minutes 20s. Ellen van Looy, who's the top Belgian, very closely followed by Laura Verdonschot, who finishes in 9th place there. And for the first time in 4 years, we have a Dutch world champion.
And we have a different world champion to any we've ever had before. And interestingly enough, today, we haven't had a single Belgian rider in a championship podium.
Yeah, we'll try to update you on the other races in just a few moments. I can tell you it's been Dutch domination, as this is lovely. Putty finishes in 10th. This is Katarina Nash, and you wonder if this is goodbye to the elite scene. 11th place, a super finish for the Czech star who led the World Cup for so long. And Sanne Cant in 12th place. On the right-hand side, Magali Rochette battling for every single place with Christina Majerus. It's Thuringer 13th, Rochette 14th, Majerus, the Luxembourgish rider, in 15th place. So much to reflect on. It's been quite a race. We thought the Dutch might dominate. They've done it again. This time, though, with their young sensation. Alvarado was in front, was behind. They all fought each other well. But in the end, she would be the rider who triumphed. Looking behind for Brand, who was there or thereabouts throughout the race. And there were moves. There's a tactically fascinating battle between these three riders. And it could have gone either way. Certainly when it came to the sprint, most money would have been on Wurst on the left-hand side. But look who timed it better. First World Championships amongst the elites. And it's a win for Celine del Carmen Alvarado. Dutch dominance yet again on the crossfield. Alvarado wins. All the reaction coming right after this break.